chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about my personal top 100 favourite action figures. I've done a whole lot of selling and reorganising recently, sold off a whole bunch and kept the real gems. So guys, this is in chronological order, my top 100 action figures in my collection. Alright, put your feet up, crack a beer, and let's do this. Hey, what's going on, you guys? And time for Big Time Badass Spider-Man. I think I've been conditioned to love Big Time Badass Spider-Man from just watching too much Optimus Prime. As if you can watch too much Optimus Prime. Can't get enough of that guy. He's just good vibes all around. And Big Time Badass Spider-Man is exactly that. Such a simple costume, just like with the classic black and white costume. It's a basic, bold design that just pops off the shelf and looks awesome. Neon green is always going to be a winner for me because it's just so eye-catching, and on this figure, it works terrifically. Going over to a Fortnite character now, we got little Lynx. I think Lynx is just really cute, but then when you sort of get past that initial kind of like, I kind of like that little cat creature, the amount of very subtle tooling and details that have gone into it, you're like, they've put a lot of work into this actually. I love the cute, quirky, ridiculous teddy bear backpack because again, in my sort of headcanon, it's like, this is a elite cyber space hunter, bounty hunter, assassin type character who's also slightly off their rocker, hence the teddy bear backpack. A bit of a Harley Quinn sort of thing going on there. The cute little Lynx tail as well that you can position, and I love the helmet that has those cat kind of features. And then the paint deco has this cool little sort of repeating pattern on it. So much going on that you don't initially see when you first look at it, and you take a close look and you're like, wow, it's a really good figure. McFarlane Warhammer's Necro Warrior. Again, for the cosmic display, I figured this guy, look, it's a robot that's trying to disguise itself as a human by just pulling some skin over it. That's my headcanon anyway. I know that actually the Necro headcanon, well not headcanon, the Necro actual canon in Warhammer is way more horrifying than that. I love Warhammer because it's like, wow, just how dark and bleak do you want to get? And they're like, a little bleaker, actually. But this dude with the terrifying claws, the Terminator sort of T-800 sort of exoskeleton type body that's got a little hint of Judge Dredd ABC Warrior in the skull sort of face as well. All these different elements come together to just make what, in my eyes, in my cosmic display, is this terrifying bounty hunter kind of creature. I think he's just so awesome. The fan vote Silk. Yes, the action figure that people voted for and said, hey Hasbro, this is the figure we want. And they went, okay, and then made it. And then everyone bought it, and we were all happy. So then Hasbro made her again. I'm just kidding. It's fun to rip on them sometimes. But we're getting a new Silk. Quite frankly, though, I don't think I need it. I think the old Silk, okay, so she doesn't have the double jointed elbows or the swivel there, but that doesn't really matter, because she's got so much going for her. The great look, I love the Silk costume. The black and white with the little bits of red, that looks terrific. Then with the ninja mask as well, but you don't have to have the ninja mask. You can have the completely clean face with the mask pulled down and worn as an accessory. The different webbing as well. They really put a lot of effort into this figure, and it shows, and I think she's great. Snake Eyes and Timber. If an action figure comes with a wowie, you got to include them in the top 100, especially when the wowie is articulated. You can actually pose this. You would have thought it would just be a solid piece of plastic, like a little statue you can pop down. No, you have the full range of articulation in this wolf, along with a different head as well. So you got the snarling look and the relaxed one. Then Snake Eyes in his commando sort of gear. I'm a fan of the pointed visor ninja style, but for this context, it just looks great. So much detail, which unfortunately is kind of lost at a glance because it's all black. But then that's where you get rewarded. You look real close and you can see everything that's gone into this guy. Oh, he's a thing of beauty. Hammerhead, one of the best new figures that Hasbro have done, I feel. Just the work that they've done with the face sculpt. It almost looks like an MCU figure because it looks like a real human being that's just got some makeup on to make him look like Hammerhead. Then the fact they used a bigger, chunkier buck because that's what the character should be. Isn't it nice when they actually go, no, we could use this smaller thing and save some money, but that's not what the character looks like. So let's actually push the boat out and use this big, chunky, suited body. He looks great with the baseball bat, the knuckle dusters. I can't say enough good things about Hammerhead. Hello there, you little bleeding wankers, it's the Juggernaut! Not only the Juggernaut, but the select Juggernaut. The brick, the doorstop, the immovable force, and the unstoppable object. Okay, there's not a huge amount of articulation and posing options. It's pretty much the Juggernaut, that's what you got, but what more do you need? The select sculpting and paintwork just looks so beautiful. The sort of texture on his body is kind of rough and just looks mean, and the way that you can see his face underneath the helmet, that is my go-to Juggernaut. Like, used to have the Legends Bath, used to have the 2-pack, sold those dudes because I'm like, I don't need any more. The select just does it. Pyro, representing the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, might be kind of a weird choice because at a glance he's just a average Marvel legend, but I just love what they've done with him. The bright yellow and red. I think the face sculpt is just a great stylistic face sculpt. He's not bored, it's not plain, like he is going into battle and looks really, really cool. It would have been better if he came with a few more flame effects. That would have been kind of nice. He's just got like a couple of small flames that go on his spooters, but I'll allow that because just the visual aesthetics of the character, yeah, I think he's great. The Mandalorian, Din Djarin. I think what they've done that's so good with this figure is that obviously his armor is very chrome, very silver, and it can be difficult to get that look in plastic. Sometimes it just looks, well, plastic. But actually no, when I've got this guy on the shelf, the way that the light reflects off of the paint that they've used, it looks like full-on Beskar armor, and that's just exactly what you want. Then with his pistol and his gaffy stick and the backpack and just everything he's got going on, it's just great. The Mandalorian's one of the best things to come out of Star Wars over the last 10 years or so, and Hasbro did a great job of doing him justice. Sometimes female faces can be the hardest thing to get right, so when they do it, I gotta acknowledge it. And Lady J, they have done a perfect, I think, female face for this kind of Hasbro sort of price point and style. This is, I think, as good as they can get. I mean, hey, prove me wrong, but in the meantime, I think they just captured her perfectly. And then the rest of the figure, with the sculpting on the female buck and all the detail with the weapons and everything that fits together as you always get with the Joes, yeah, she's an easy favorite. Bastion, kind of a bonus figure with the Sentinel, but whew, what a bonus. I love cyborgs. I love evil robots, and Bastion is exactly that. And I think this is like an upgraded version of the character from when he was first introduced. He just looked like a mean-looking old man. But then he's got like the cybernetic jaw under here, and that's the great combination of the sort of sickly, pale-looking flesh, which obviously is fake, and then going into this cybernetic stuff there, and the sleek bodysuit with the chrome purple accents. It's basic, but it just works. It works really well, which is funny because actually I really hate the female Prime Sentinel that comes with him as well. I think that just doesn't work to my eye. But the Bastion one, yeah, that works. Oh, my little Hercules! The most ridiculous of characters. I need to pose him next to Prophet Director Destro and just have this display of just bonkersness. Looks like the ultimate decadent Hollywood party. And that's where you would find Hercules. Two different face sculpts, determined and what's going on? Both of them just bring the character to life in such different ways. Then with his ridiculous gladiator-style Greek straps and harness, a bonkers costume for a bonkers character, but on a big beefy buck as well. That's Hasbro doing what they do best. And when they do what they do best, oh, it's the best. A gift from my brother-in-law, which gives it a bit of extra pointage, is the big giant Spawn statue. Yeah, definitely more of a statue than an action figure, but I'm including him because I've got a lot of sentimental love for this guy. Plus, it's the Mortal Kombat 11 kind of commando Spawn sort of style, which I think as far as Spawn variants go, is pretty damn wicked, with the huge big machine gun on there as well, the grenades and the awesome swirly-whirly power effect. As a sort of standout desktop piece that could just look awesome on his own, yeah, he fits the bill. One of my favorite X-Men villains, Omega Red. Such a badass character, and this representation of him in Marvel Legends form, I think they really nailed it. the great kind of looking face, and just the fact that it's a big, chunky, hefty body. That's what you need, because Omega Red should be towering and imposing his will over all those people crazy enough to step up to him, with the great long tendrils that come out there, the carbonadium, I think that's what they're called, and the fact that he came with longer ones or shorter ones, so he can take up as much space as you want him to. Omega Red, yeah, really, really cool. I dig that guy. Armored Daredevil, that's kind of a sleeper hit, but from the Spider-Man retro wave, I just love what they did with it. With the armored shoulder pads and the wonderful shiny metallic red that makes that look like it's more armored as well. A lot of people kind of make fun of pointless 90s costume designs, and don't get me wrong, there were some clangers in the 90s, but honestly, I thought Armored Daredevil was a genuine upgrade to the Daredevil costume. Don't get me wrong, the all red, it's great, it's iconic, but the black and red with the armor pieces on there, yeah, I thought that looked wicked. Bit of an old school figure here with Marv from Sin City. McFarlane, an early McFarlane from the late 90s, 1998. This was before the Sin City movie even came out, so this was straight from the Frank Miller comics. And this action figure just looks ripped from the comic book page. Now, being an early McFarlane, he's pretty much a posable statue, but what a statue. In the grayscale with the little bits of red for the bloody bullet holes, and the wonderful diorama street scene base as well, where he's got the bricks behind him that kind of mirror his shadow. Such a wicked, cool, badass figure. Really gotta love Marv. Sunfire from the Age of Apocalypse. You know me, I love my translucent figures, and this dude, you hold him up to the light and it's like, oh golly, you're so pretty. They did a wonderful job on Sunfire with the wonderful flowing kind of fire effects and just the badass mask with the rising sun on there. Such a wicked character. Awesome character design. Looks great on the shelf. Shocker! Another one from the Spider-Man retro range, and I think that this is just one that they've taken certain ideas for that some people don't like. Basically, they don't have the black crisscross, but they've got it actually sculpted in, and for that I give more credit. Some people, if they want to, they can fill in the lines. I don't even want to do that. I think it looks like he is wearing a quilted costume. That's something that I wouldn't have expected Hasbro to do. I thought they would have just used a regular human buck and then just put some X's on it. But no, they've actually sculpted it, which adds so much more. Then with the cool kind of expressive masked face, I really dig the Shocker. Didn't think he was going to be as good as he was, and then they really came out and just absolutely surprised us all. I think he's great. I'm a sucker for late 90s McFarlane, and I'm gutted that I sold the original Mandarin. Luckily, they made a new Mandarin Spawn, and it's pretty darn good. This guy looking so regal in all the battle armor and all the weapons and everything he comes with. I'm tempted to get another so that they can maybe flank Shao Kahn as like two royal guards. That would look so cool. But even on their own, with the weird kind of insectoid type legs, it looks monstrous, but just also threatening and kind of honorable as well, and just generally totally badass. Who would have thought we would ever need a cyborg Spidey figure? I didn't think we'd ever see that, and then we got it, and he's fantastic. So again, Hasbro, bravo. There's not much to change around as far as accessories and stuff, but I mean, he looks exactly like you'd want him to. Plucked straight off the Eric Larson comic book page. The eye, the cybernetic arm, putting him side by side with Deathlock. That's just a match made in heaven. Pure big bang of 90s nostalgia. Can't do better than that. Psylocke, Betsy Braddock, one of my favorite X-Men, one of the first characters that I really got into when I started reading, because it was the whole storyline with her and Sabretooth and Archangel. Good times. And Mafex have really done her justice. Doing a figure that has so many different accessories and posing options, got all these different power effects, she's got twin katanas, different face sculpts. She's a little bit, I will actually, I'll agree, little bit undersized for the 6-inch range, but when you've got everything going on in the display, you kind of get away with it, so it's fine. But still, the size notwithstanding, I think she's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I love Psylocke. One of my newest additions, Bret the Hitman Hart. I only own 2 wrestling figures, and Bret has to be one of them. A gift from one of my good, close, personal, not particularly long-time friends. He bought it for me because he knows that Bret Hart is my absolute hero. Dom, thank you so much. Not only that, but he got the best Bret Hart outfit that the Hitman has ever worn. It's the pink and black, but with the fiery orange in there as well. Looks so awesome. Hitman's never looked cooler. Such a shame that Mattel, I feel, still can't quite get Bret Hart's facial features right. Those are still a little bit derpy, I gotta say. But that doesn't take away from the absolute perfect rendition of his best outfit only ever worn once at Survivor Series 1996 when he came back and defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin and pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, kick-started the Attitude Era. Bret, you'll always have a space on my shelf. Curse of Spawn, kind of a gift from a friend of mine that I met through action figure collecting, so I got some extra love for it. But also, just a wicked design. This kind of Grim Reaper, but cybernetic version. Bit of Spawn in there, bit of Judge Death in there, and just these other kind of just cool comic booky elements that come together, and especially with the little goblin, gremlin, darkling sort of minions he's got with him. So much cool stuff. Again, late 90s McFarlane, pretty much a posable statue. Might even be early 2000s, but I mean, don't fact check me on that. What I'm saying is, there's not a lot of articulation, but when you've got him posed in such a wicked way, you don't even need it. Bit of a sleeper hit for me is Stealth Iron Man. That is one that I absolutely thought was going to be a wave filler that I had no use for, just getting it for the bath. And then when I had him in hand, I was like, oh, this looks so beautiful with the midnight bluey black kind of color scheme, just punctuated with the red in there as well. I really love it. Almost annoyingly so, because I thought, I can definitely sell this guy. And then when I got him in hand, I was like, nope, I think I'm keeping him. Cobra Commander, the regal looking Cobra Commander. This just looks wicked. The blank face mask of Cobra Commander, it's like, that's always just looked like a badass kind of design. And then with Hasbro going so hard with all of the accessories, the beautiful sword and all of his kind of finery to go out on parade with, this is the ultimate version of Cobra Commander, I think. I absolutely adore this guy. The Retro Green Goblin, the absolute best version of Norman Osborn, in my opinion. Some people don't like the big eyes or the fact that he's too much of a neon green, but I love how much that pops. I think it's fantastic. And then the wonderful scales on the armor, there was a lot of reuse in it, but that was because the buck that they originally had was perfect. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that Norman Osborn with the unmasked head as well, and you could have the hood around his neck. Little touches like that just bring so much of the character to life. If you're gonna immortalize Spider-Man's greatest villain, yeah, that is his greatest villain, in my humble opinion, then this is the best version you're gonna have. I love that Green Goblin. Bronson Reed, who I didn't even know, but I saw this guy on the shelf and I was like, whoa, that looks awesome. First of all, I recognized the Bam Bam Bigelow style wrestling attire. I was like, oh, this guy, he's been studying the classics. So I love the flames and everything on the gear, but then he's got the soft goods jacket as well. A soft goods jacket that instantly elevates any figure. Then with the fantastic skull and crossbones on the tummy, the same on the back as well, a cool mean face, and my favorite pro wrestler physique. Big, wide, stocky, big, scary man-bear kind of looking creature. Pro wrestlers shouldn't be handsome devils. Not all of them, except Bret Hart, obviously. But then you want some mean, badass looking guys who look like they'll throw you through a barroom window. That's what he looks like. And even though I don't even know him as a wrestler, I know he wrestles for New Japan now. That's all I know. He's Jonah. I got to start watching his stuff. He looked so awesome. I thought, yeah, I've got to add him to the collection. And you know what? I'm so glad I did. Blight. I didn't know this character, but a buddy of mine did a custom repaint on him for me, and he's just wicked. Why? Because it's a skull in a tube head tank thing with green crackling energy. It's just wicked. I absolutely dig it. I realized after finally doing some research, I do research sometimes, that he's from Batman Beyond, and that kind of makes me want to watch the show just to get more of the skinny on this guy. But just standing in my cosmic characters type shelf, he fits right in. Terrifying, spacebound badass. That's all you need. There are no strings on me. Ultron. That was my little Age of Ultron impression there. James Spader, I think one of the more underrated Marvel villains. The movie wasn't awesome, but I think his portrayal of Ultron, I could watch that all day. And I could stare at my retro... Is it retro? No, it's not retro. It's just from the Bring on the Bad Guys wave. Bring on the bad guys, Ultron. It's sleek. Like, there's not much to it, which is actually great because sometimes less is more. This is just absolutely classic. That's why I said retro, because it's like classic Ultron. Not big and crazy and terrifying, which I would like to see at some point, one of the more modern versions. But this is proper original Ultron with the Kirby crackle that just brings the whole thing to life. I think he's one of my favorite representations of a villain. So I don't have a lot of random Marvel villains, but Ultron, yeah, he's always going to be safe on the shelf. Another custom is Shriek, repainted to look like this cool, battered up, chrome, warrior-type cyborg android, and that's what I'm going for with my headcanon, with the big claws, and what I've got because of the amazing work, thanks very much, Robert, amazing battle-scarred armor, some bullet holes and stuff. It looks like a repurposed warrior robot that's been found in a trash heap and reprogrammed to just do whatever someone wants them to do. Probably take out the trash both literally and figuratively. Wicked looking character. I don't even know about the original Shriek character, although I know that it's actually a very sleek design, like it's a character who's been made by Apple or something, you know, smooth black and white, whereas this roughed up version, yeah, he fits in more with my display. The Arkham Knight, currently undergoing repairs, hence he's missing an arm, but I wanted to show him for this video. So you're getting a one-armed Arkham Knight. He'll be whole again soon once a bit of dremeling has gone on. But what is so amazing about this figure is you can completely retool him from being the all-red Red Hood sort of version to the more original Batman-looking Arkham Knight kind of one. So full-on red armor to full-on blue armor with the Batman head, and it's not a case of different figures that you could buy different variants of. It's like, no, you can just take all the individual pieces off of the main body and replace them with the ones that totally transform it. Such a clever design. Like, someone has sat down and gone, right, how can we make this work? And they figured it out. I absolutely adore that guy. The Arkham Knight game, it had its dizzying highs and its terrifying lows and creamy middles, but when it was really good, Arkham Knight was amazing, and I love what they did with that character, and they've captured him perfectly in this action figure. Red Skull. I think I love this character because it was like, I feel, the start of a new wave of Marvel Legends action figures. Because it's a new buck, some new tooling on there, some pinless tech going on. But then they also made him even better with all these different extras. He's got 2 different heads which look very different, like crazy white teeth grinning or real mean, moody looking sneer on him. Then an awesome pistol with a Hydra logo on it. I say pistol, it's like a machine gun. He's got the cosmic cube as well. So much to love about this figure, and I do. Behold the Tengu Warrior! Not a big Power Rangers fan, but the Tengu Warrior really caught my eye. I actually didn't have any Power Rangers figures until I got this one. He just kind of called to me. I saw him in the box, and more to the point, I saw the wonderful oil slick kind of shiny effect that they had on the feathers, and I was like, man, that looks so pretty. And then I got him home, got him out, and I was like, yes, it still looks pretty in hand. And the fact that there's little things that they've done which you would have thought, oh, I wouldn't have even thought to include that. Like, you can articulate the beak. So you have a beak open or closed. He has different lengths of feathers that you can put on his arms, because this is obviously, you can army build this, kind of like the putties, the Tengu Warriors. They were just there en masse to get battered by the Power Rangers. So if you wanted to army build them, you've got all these different options to change them up and make them look different. But me, I've just got the one. I bought him for my kind of random mythical monsters kind of selection, and honestly, he fits right in with them. I think he's awesome. Now, this might be unfair, but it's my list, so I'm going to include a few customs, especially this Spawn custom. This is exactly the Spawn figure that I wanted, that Todd McFarlane seems to be refusing to give us. Just classic Spawn. That's what I want, not Mortal Kombat style, not from the comic books where it's the black on the chest. No, I want the red on the chest. It brightens up the figure so much more. This is my perfect Spawn, especially with the cloth goods cape, with the wire in there and the chains. My buddy Robert made this for me. I'm in your debt, my good sir. This is the Spawn I always wanted. Lord Zed. Just when Power Rangers was a bit too wacky with Rita Repulsa, they went, okay, tell you what, let's just get horrific then. Giant, terrifying dude with no skin and an exposed brain. Yeah, that's a good step up, and this Hasbro figure is a good representation of that. Is it perfect? Nah, it's got a few things that I would like just to look a bit more gnarly. You know, I'd love to see McFarlane tackle Lord Zedd. That would be wicked, but possibly a bit too scary for what is essentially a kid's franchise. So this, a slightly more toyetic, child-friendly Lord Zedd, but with the awesome tubes as separate pieces that go around his body, still looks really gnarly, still looks badass, still does what you need to give us a terrifying-looking Lord Zedd. You weak, pathetic fool! Shao Kahn from McFarlane's Mortal Kombat 11 line. See, I'm a big sucker for the classic costumes. That's where Storm Collectibles comes in. But then with the more modern kind of, you couldn't call it real world take, but you know what I mean. More details, more practicality going on. They nailed that so well. It looks like proper kind of ancient battle armor. He looks like a boss. I mean, anyone who wears a skull helmet like that just looks ultra badass, except for Triple H, so it always came off as try-hard. But the McFarlane one with the massive sledgehammer as well, I'm seeing a lot of Triple H vibes, actually. Shao Kahn did it first. Shao Kahn did it better. Scarlet Spider Kane version, a character that I wish we could see more of in the comics, because when he had a solo run, that was one of the best 12 to 24-ish, I think it's 24 issues of a comic series that I think I've enjoyed over the last few years. But he's kind of fallen into character limbo, which is a shame. But he'll always be immortalized on my shelf with a badass action figure. Flint, I find that the Joes, some of them, like, it looks a bit generic because they're all just kind of like army people, you know? But then I look a little bit closer and I see everything that's gone into Flint, for example, with the removable beret, the different weapons, and all the sculpting and the paint and everything that's gone into making a real practical looking, real world kind of costume. Yeah, I got a lot of time for this guy. Of all the kind of more realistic, human looking, just military kind of Joes, I think he is the absolute best of the bunch. Retro Mysterio, when they released the original Mysterio, I was like, he's good, but I wish he had more paint detail. I wish he had some more gold and more shading and all that good stuff. And Hasbro were like, what's that, Dave? You want to spend more money on another Mysterio? We can do that. And they did, and he looks fantastic, and I'm not even mad. Gorilla Grodd, a giant gorilla in golden armor. I don't think I need to sell you guys on this. I mean, he's even got little toe rings. Come on! Now, okay, does he have any extras? No, like a different relaxed head would have been kind of fun, or some different hands. But you know what? If he came with extras, I probably wouldn't use them, because what he's got with the rah, terrifying gorilla head, yeah, that's how I would pose him. Gorilla Grodd, I'm not even a DC guy, but I love him. I sold off all my animated turtles except animated Splinter and Baxter. I kept those because they're both just so cute in their different ways. So Splinter with the beautiful soft goods robe and the very sort of soulful, I think, animated kind of looking face. He just looks great. I can look at a figure and I can hear his Master Splinter voice. There's a sort of sense memory there that just triggers whenever I see that. I think he looks great. I love the bright, bold, animated colors. Splinter's always going to be a favorite. Baraka, one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters, because he looks terrifying. I was scared of him in the arcade in 1992. I was like, oh no, I don't like that. Now that I'm a grown-up big boy, I'm not that scared anymore. Maybe a little bit, but I'm not going to admit to it, because Storm Collectibles just nailed the look of this character. The horrifying skull-type face with the eyes way back here and the jagged, sharp teeth. It's just absolutely fantastic. Baraka, they killed it with that dude. A real highlight from the line. As I was slowly getting into the G.I. Joe line, everyone was telling me that Zartan was one of the standout figures, and yeah, they were right. He looks so great. I didn't even realize that you could remove his hood and he's got the bald head underneath. I mean, in hindsight, of course you can, because now I've learned with G.I. Joe, you can remove pretty much everything, and that's what I love so much about them. They've got holsters and pockets and pouches for just about everything, and that's so much attention to detail that works so well. Zartan, the leader of the, is it Dreadnoughts or Dreadnoks? I think it's Dreadnoks. Whatever they're called, he's the leader of them, and rightly so, because he looks like a badass. Bonkers figures, you know I love them. Frogman, Just look at him. A giant, well, not giant, but, a slightly portly. That's a bit more fair. I didn't want to body shame Frogman. A portly superhero with a big frog mask on his head, backpack, ridiculous flippers on his feet. So utterly ridiculous. If I was having a superhero team up, I'd be embarrassed to be seen with him, but I'm not embarrassed to have him on my shelf because he looks wonderful. Doom, retro Doom, which arguably a lot of people would say is inferior to the more modern looking one, which is just darker and more badass. Honestly, I love the bright popping colors of retro Doom with his green, bright, almost neon cape, and I love a little bit of cloth goods as well, which Marvel Hasbro don't normally do, so it's kind of nice to see that. Throw in the spell books as well, and yeah, that for me, that's my favorite Doom. 2022 seems to be the year of Moon Knight, which makes me so happy to have the Mezco Moon Knight. Francis, my buddy who hooked me up with that, thank you so much. I love this dude. He's got the different heads with the unmasked version as well. Beautiful, huge, big pleather style cape. And then just all of the sculpting and accents and nuances that go into the Moon Knight costume itself. With his weapons that have proper chains on them. Badass moon sickle, crescent throwing things. He looks wicked. Put him up on a flight stand and yeah, that's a fantastic Moon Knight. Absolutely brilliant. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, damn, love that guy. The Kingpin of Crime, kind of like Mysterio. When we got the Build-A-Figure, I was like, he's great, but I wish he had the retro look with the purple trousers and the cravat and all that kind of thing. And once again, Hasbro was like, what? You want to buy it again? We can do that. And again, not even mad because this is my quintessential Kingpin. This is how he should have always looked, and I'm so glad we've got him. Boba Fett! Where? On my shelf, actually. The Hasbro Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. I don't care. If whatever you collect, you gotta have the Fett, man. So I think I got what I thought was like the best 6-inch version of the character at the moment. I love Return of the Jedi. It's always going to be my favorite Star Wars film. So you gotta get Boba Fett from that. And everything he comes with the jetpack effect, so you can put him in a cool looking flight stand. His target thing on the visor goes up and down, which is just a nice little thing to have. Little touches that just make him look great. The Wookiee braids and everything. It's just an awesome costume that Hasbro nailed really, really well with that. It's a bit weird. The knee joints are a bit strange. Like his knees bend below the knee, but that's fine. Honestly, with everything that they've done right with this figure, I can look past that because the Fett Man's wicked. Look out, sinners, it's the Demo Goblin. Demo Goblin. I always mispronounce it. I don't know why. It's kind of a little brain thing there. Anyway, the Demo Goblin Build-A-Figure. Normally, I'd be a bit salty for a regular-sized character as a Build-A-Figure, but with the beautiful flame Goblin glider, the stand it comes with, and the incredible sculpting on the face and the gnarly hands, yeah, Demo Goblin is an absolute standout. Love that dude. Revlatech Cable. Man, I didn't know what cable to go for. I had the Marvel Legends one, which was beautiful Rob Liefeld style, and then there's a couple of different Mezcos as well, but ultimately, it was Revlatech that just captured the 90s cable by my eyes so perfectly. And I'm a little dubious of Revlatech sometimes, because the joints can look a little odd. You got some ball hinges all over the place. I don't always know, but Cable, they nailed it. Big, hulking kind of version of the character that still scales beautifully with all the other 6-inch scale figures. A gigantic big gun that you can kind of put together like a transformer almost. And just that wonderful, I think it's kind of a mashup in my eye of like Joe Madureira and Ian Churchill kind of art pushed together to make what I think is a fantastic version of Cable. Mezco Iron Man. I was looking for a definitive Iron Man. I love the 80th anniversary one, but I wanted something that was a bit more zhuzh, you know, something that's a little bit more special. And then I found a dude who was in Germany that was selling this for a very competitive price. And I was like, God bless the European Union. I wish we were still in it. But they sent it across and I was so happy to get this action figure who feels heavy, hefty. This is like a figure made out of actual metal. Not iron, I don't think. That would have been kind of appropriate, but maybe a bit more expensive to ship. But with all the different blast effects, the beautiful chrome metallic color scheme on there, this for me is my definitive Tony Stark. My custom Kane action figure. I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for Hasbro to make a classic 90s Kane, and they point blank refused to. Honestly, I'm feeling a bit victimized, quite frankly. I think it's personal at this point. Hasbro, prove me wrong and give us 90s Kane. Not that I'm actually that bothered now, because I've got the custom and he's amazing. So yeah, I think I'm all set now. One of the newest Marvel Legends to hit the shelves, Helmut Zemo. They just nailed Baron Zemo. It doesn't take a lot. He's not an overly complex character to put into figure form, but they just did such a wonderful job. He's on the Red Skull body, but then with the wonderful fluff and fur around the collars, great facial sculpting on the mask that gives personality through this blank slate. I love the combination of the yellow and the purples that make such an interesting looking color combination for the suit he pops off the shelf. I got a lot of time for Zemo. MODOK, the mechanized organism designed only for killing it on your shelf. What a random, weird, bizarre, deluxe figure, and they just did a great job with it. The Toy Biz Build-A-Figure still stood up as a great action figure. Hasbro made an incredible iteration of the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure, and he just looks wonderful. He's also gone down in price quite a lot, so if you haven't got him, you can pick him up for about half of what he was originally going for, and you should, because he's bright, crazy, bold, a real centerpiece for a villains collection. I love MODOK, he's wicked. You know from this list that I love creativity, and mashing up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the Universal monsters. What a bizarre mix that we didn't think we needed, but NECA proved that we did, because they put so much work, effort, and creativity and imagination into it. Again, the amount of fun someone must have had going, yeah, shall we patch up his shell with a sewer lid? Yeah, go on, and then put like a pressure gauge on the back and the stitches here and there and lightning bolt size. So much work, so much thought, and so much awesome on the shelf. Captain Carter. So many people were telling me that this figure was just a kind of a beautiful looking figure, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure it is. So then one of the good brothers actually bought it for me as a gift, and I was like, dude, first of all, you shouldn't have, and then I get it, and I'm like, oh wow, everyone was right. This is really awesome. I love the 1940s style hairdo that she has. The mashup of the Union Jack with the Captain America costume incorporated it all together. It's fantastic. I only have one What If series figure. Don't need any more because I've got Captain Carter, and quite frankly, she's perfect. Krieg, Mezco Rumble Society. This one is connected to my Cosmic Legions, kind of going all in with that. I was thinking, what else can I get that would fit this great cosmic kind of theme? And then I saw Pale Driver Krieg, and I was like, yes, with the crazy Matrix style Sentinel mask on there, the wonderful light up effects as well, all the different weapons, and just badass Space Warrior battle armor. He's gonna fit right in. Netflix Daredevil by Mezco, but by way of my friend Jason who sent him over to me. I'm a big fan of the Netflix Charlie Cox Daredevil, and this captures his suit so well. I always worry with Mezco, does it look like they're wearing pajamas? In this case, no, I don't think so, because they have all this different texture, different types of material that make up his suit, so it looks kind of armored. That's what's really great. The black and the red looks like Kevlar, and the black looks kind of slick. Then with the gritted teeth, like real determined, I'm about to mess you up kind of look on his face. Such a wicked, grim, gritty Daredevil. I think that's probably my favorite version of the character. Deluxe Punisher from the Riders series. I love how modern and realistic they've gone with this face sculpt. Retro Punisher is awesome. I love that figure for the comic book stylings, but for a modern version, Hasbro went pretty intense. They're not afraid. Unlike McFarlane, they're like, shall we give him an Uzi? Yes, give him an Uzi. Shall we give him a sawn-off shotgun? Yeah, what else can he disembowel people with? A machete? Yeah, go on then. They went nuts. Baseball bat too, and a big old fat boy motorbike to ride. What a great package that is. Just grim, gritty, badass Frank Castle. I love that dude. Retro Spidey, the current GOAT of Spider-Man action figures, I think. Peter Spider-Man held that title for the longest time, and then Retro was like, don't worry, kiddo, I'm taking over. Really hard to come by now, but hopefully in 2022 we're going to see a lot more Spider-Man action figures coming out. So anyone who doesn't have him will be able to get their chance. But I managed to snag him, and I'm so glad that I did, because he is wicked. Super Shredder. I absolutely go nuts for this guy because I remember being in the cinema and seeing Super Shredder on screen, but only a bit because you never got a close look at him. And finally, 30 years later, about give or take, geez, I'm getting old, you can actually get a proper three-dimensional look at this wicked, wicked character. NECA, they absolutely nailed it with the size, the proportions, terrifying eyes, and the jagged armor, the soft goods cape. They've done other versions of him as well with like the dark noir one and the brighter colored disco. I still love the original, but anything of this Super Shredder mold just looks fantastic. Barbecue. Oh man, talk about a figure that looks better in hand than in the box. I was on the fence about getting him because I saw all the orange and I like bright colored characters, but I thought, I don't know. Maybe that looks a little bit too plasticky, but then I took him out, I put the backpack on and all the extras, the weapons, the hose, all these different things, and I was like, no, you are fantastic, sir. Put him with a few flame effects as well, and Barbecue is he's one of my favorite Joes. Mafex Sensational Spider-Man. Sensational Spider-Man, Ben Reilly, when he's in his blue and red costume, that is my ultimate favorite Spider-Man. Scarlet Spider's cool, but when he actually assumes the mantle of Spider-Man, that was when my fandom was at its peak, and Mafex have done such a great job capturing that character. The wonderful posability, the articulation. I love the sculpting in the face. It looks like a human head under that mask. They really pushed the boat out for Ben Reilly, and rightly so. This figure's amazing. Wow Machine! War Machine! Ow! I won't keep going. War Machine, Deluxe War Machine. Hasbro, you killed it with this one. Absolutely. Just the basic Marvel vs. Capcom style 90s War Machine body. That's so awesome. I was waiting for that for ages with the shoulder-mounted gun turrets. So cool. But then they threw in all the blast effects as well, so you could really display him in the most bombastic, over-the-top War Machine type way. Yeah. A+ Hasbro, that was fantastic. Sabretooth from the Age of Apocalypse. That Age of Apocalypse Wave 2, that was almost all killer, no filler. Every single figure had something going for it, except Cyclops. He sucked. But Sabretooth with two different heads, different hands, and on a big chunky buck, pairing him up together with Wild Child, those two are absolute perfection. Again, taken straight from the comic books, dropped on your shelf. Hasbro, you done it right. Baxter, the other half of the Splinter 2-pack. Bright, bold, colourful. It really is just like a three-dimensional version of the 2D cartoon come to life. The fact that they could take a human-fly mashup and somehow make it look cute and adorable, it does. It works so well with his little mutagen gun with the dial that shows what animal he wants to turn someone into. The articulated wings on the back, so much detail, love, care, and craft has gone into it. I dig Baxter the most. A strong contender for Marvel Legend of the Year already is Doctor Strange. The fact that it's not even a deluxe figure, but came with so much. Different heads, magical artifacts, spells, all this great stuff. Some people say it's a shame that the cape is molded on, you can't remove that. I don't mind, I wouldn't be displaying him any other way. I think the face sculpts are incredible, so much character going on in there. This is what Marvel Legends should be. Hasbro, more like that please. Retro Scarlet Spider. I love what they've done with the pizza buck, throwing on the hoodie, which makes it look a little bit thicker, a little more hefty, and the wonderful metallic kind of red going on there too. That's my favorite version of the Scarlet Spider, because there's a few different figures you can choose from to represent that character, but with the retro one, they really nailed it, especially with the unmasked blonde hair, Ben Reilly head. That's so versatile. That's currently on my retro, sensational Spider-Man figure. That works really, really well. And then I've got the regular mask on my classic retro Scarlet Spider Ben Reilly. He looks the bomb. Profit Director Destro. You know that I love my bonkers ridiculous figures, and they don't come much more bonkers than Profit Director Destro. With his pimpin' gear, his leopard print clothes, and his cape with the gold mask, the sunglasses, the burning money. What more do you want? Someone went so crazy with this. Fully invested in the nonsense, and that's when you get the best results. And that dude, yeah, he's one of the best results. You weak, pathetic fool. Shao Kahn from Storm Collectibles this time. This was the one that really made me go, okay, I think I need to buy into this line now because he's just perfect. He's exactly what he needs to look like. He is Shao Kahn straight from Mortal Kombat 2 with his throne as well, a stocky kind of build, a removable helmet. He's just the bomb. Man, he is the ultimate cheap spamming boss who will kill you so many times, but you're not even mad because the action figure makes you think, Shao Kahn, you're not all that bad. I only wanted to have one Predator in my collection. If you're going to have one NECA Predator in your collection, you might as well have the Alpha Predator. I love the lore, the creativity behind the idea of what was the first Hunter Predator. What did they look like? What were their weapons made of? If it was like Predator caveman tech. And this, with the beautiful details, the color scheme, everything that goes into it, absolutely love this guy. I don't think I ever need any more Predators. This guy does it. Optic Blast! Mezco Cyclops. I wanted to mix up my X-Men display, and the Mezco one I thought was my preferred Cyclops. It came down to either Mafex or Mezco, and I felt Mafex, even though he does look wicked, very Marvel vs. Capcom, which I do love, I thought the proportions weren't quite right. Whereas Mezco, yeah, I love it. A little bit controversial because he's not wearing the yellow pants. But actually, once I kind of adjusted my eyes to that design, I was like, no, that's fine. I'm down with that. He just looks awesome. With the different optic blast effects, I've got the most powerful looking one on there. So it's a huge, big force beam coming from his eyes and a real rah kind of face. Then with the bomber jacket as well, this for me is the definitive Cyclops. Scorpion from Storm Collectibles. We've had a couple of Scorpions now. Storm Collectibles, they know where their bread is buttered. They know where to make some money, and Scorpion is always going to be popular. And I can't help but feel, toss, that I might have the definitive version. It's the San Diego Comic-Con one, which I think kind of combines the best elements of what's come before. I love the quilted ninja costume sort of style, then with the different heads, flame effects, and all that good stuff. Yeah, this for me, until they bring out another one, is the ultimate Scorpion. I'm not the Vindicator or the Victimizer. I am the Violator. The Violator from McFarlane's Mega Figure range. If ever a range of figures deserved the title Mega Figure, it's these bad boys, and the Violator just looks incredible. I wasn't planning to get him. I got him on a whim, and then when I took him out of the box, I was like, oh, I'm so glad. Spiky, pointed, terrifying, gnarly sculpt. Everything about him is exactly what he needs to be. I dig this horrifying thing the most. Kintaro, another super cheap sub-boss, but a cyborg centaur with robot scorpion type tail? Yeah, I'll take that. As an awesome, crazy action figure, I just love it. Even comes with a ripped out human skeleton, because that's the ultimate accessory you need if you're a badass. Kintaro, so bonkers, so awesome, gotta love him. You know, I swore I would never be an army builder. And then I got a bat. Dang it! And now I have 3 bats. Because the customizability of these figures are incredible. So great. 2 different heads, different chest covers, so you can have the different stages of battle damage. You got like 5, I think, different hands as well. You got regular hands, you got the claspy hook thing, you got the blowtorch. Just so much you can do. Then you got a pistol as well, and it all clips together and holds into the backpack, so you can display. That's one thing that always drives me crazy sometimes when characters have so many accessories, you can't always display them all at once. But with the bat, you pretty much can do. It looks incredible. I'm so happy to have all 3 of them. That's enough, I swear, for now. But oh my goodness, they are awesome. A real highlight from this year is Retro Black Costume Spidey. It's just the retro buck, we know that, but when it's painted with that beautiful black and white deco, oh, it's just next level. Such a simple costume design that has stood the test of time because it's simple. It doesn't get aged or dated or anything. It's just sleek, badass, awesome, and menacing looking. Absolutely perfectly captured on this action figure. Mezco Magneto. We are the future, Charles, not them. He's just great, man. I know a lot of people, they'll look at the Mezcos and go like, looks like he's wearing a sock or pajamas or whatever. I think in this case, I think it works. It works. They put just enough paneling and piping and layers and style into the costume that it looks like it is a proper comic book costume, not a dude in a sock. And I will concede when that is the case. There's a few Mezcos I haven't bought because I'm like, nope. Just looks like a dude in his pajamas. Magneto avoids that though. Then with the wonderful mask, helmet, face sculpt, a great power effect where he's disassembling a gun into its constituent parts. Again, I'm looking over at him. He looks awesome. Ming the Merciless from NECA's Defenders of the Earth line. Wow, just what an action figure. This dude comes with so much, and so much that's on him. The sculpting, the work on the armor, what he's wearing, his sort of regal kind of finery. So much effort, so much, that it puts a lot of other action figures, in my opinion, to shame, especially because I got to admit, I got him in a sale. I was like, really? All of this for $15? Incredible deal. With the soft goods cape that flows behind him and can be posed in different sort of positions. The beautiful paintwork that is so bright and vibrant and just pops out. And then when you look real close, all the intricate detail on his face that makes him look like this just mean, sinister old man alien kind of thing. I think it's great. I can't say enough good things about that. Such an awesome figure. Retro Ben Reilly on the Retro Spider-Man buck. Not a lot has changed, but it doesn't have to because it's just the awesome Ben Reilly Spider-Man costume design. My favorite costume design, where they took the original and just tweaked it a bit for a more modern era. I love the web shooters on the outside, and hey, at least that's some extra sculpting on top of the retro buck. But really, they just captured Ben's... Well, actually, they didn't capture it perfectly. I would have loved bigger eyes, bigger 90s eyes. That would have made it perfect. But even that not... Oh, and also he has the pins in the legs that the colors don't match on. That's... Okay, he has some flaws, all right? But he's still awesome, still on the list. This is kind of a controversial one because I know that a lot of people really dislike Mezco Thanos, but I'm not one of them. I think he's terrific. A lot of people don't like the baggy costume or the short legs. I love the baggy costume and short legs. And honestly, I can't even sort of put my finger on why. I just do. It's unique. And the costume looks like a spacesuit. You know, it actually looks like a proper spacesuit. It should be baggy for that regard. The short legs, hey, he's an alien. Come on. And also, he clearly just works out his glamour muscles in the gym. He's all top heavy. It makes perfect sense. But then it's the head sculpts. Each one has so much character, but the big, wide, smiling, grinning Thanos reaching out for the Infinity Gauntlet, which lights up, by the way. Yeah, he's wicked. Why throw your life away so recklessly? Well, if I had to do it in order to save my Megatron action figure, I would consider it. If the house was on fire, he might be one of the first ones I'd grab because he's so wicked. The leader of the Decepticons with the light up functions. He's got the red eyes. He's got the purple gun. He just looks so badass. And I have him now flanked with my Cobras, and he looks so cool. Does he transform? No. That's good though, because it means that his robot form is purely designed to look as good as it can do, and oh my goodness, it looks amazing. Cyrax, my favorite of the Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat characters. Why? Because he's a cyborg, he's a robot. There's no uncanny valley, there's no awkward looking human face. It's just a perfect rendition of what you saw on screen. And I love the slightly tacky kind of design of what's basically a BMX all-terrain crossbike type gear with a robot sort of head on it. It's like, I know exactly where you bought that costume from, but you know what? It works because it's just reeking of mid-90s. I'm literally at Laser Quest playing this at the arcade when I see this action figure. That's why I love him so much. Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Captain America. My goodness. I didn't think that they could do better than the 80th anniversary figure. But yeah, I'm willing to say I think they did. Love the bright, bold blue color scheme. He's got the unmasked head, which is really great because it doesn't seem to be based on any particular source. It's just a classic kind of Steve Rogers sort of look that the sculptor's gone, yeah, this is how I'm going to do him, and he did him justice. Now the shield, of course, you don't have a perfect smooth shield. It's always got the holes in, but the fact of the matter is, I'm always going to display it with the effect pieces because I think they look wicked. So I love having the bullet ricochets coming off the shield. That looks super cool. But then just the rest of the sculpting, the fish scale kind of armor up top, and he's just beautiful. He's my favorite, easy favorite of the 20th anniversary line. Hulk and Iron Man, they're fine, but not so much. If we can get more that kind of just strike that chord with me like Captain America does, yeah, I'll be buying more of those. Hawk P40, one of my first Mezcos, I think my first Rumble Society guy. I love creativity in action figures. This is where you get the art of action figures. Some figures, it's like a company has gone, okay, we need to put this guy out. How can we do it the cheapest way with the bucks and the molds that we've already got? And then other figures like Hawk P40, it's like a designer has just gone, what do I want to do? Let's make it a reality. And this World War II bomber with the jacket and the cyborg components, it looks like it's from both the 1930s and also the far-flung cosmic future. Mash those all together with a crazy gun turret, changeable head, and a minigun to go with him. It's just so much to love. Green Ranger Shredder, what more do I need to say? One of my newest, most beloved figures now. I'm not a massive Power Rangers fan, I'm not a massive Turtles fan, but then you mash those two up together, he looks incredible. Beautiful flowing cloth cape, and I just love the creativity of how they've chosen to mash up these two characters, keep the essence of both, and see how you've got Shredder's helmet but incorporated into the Green Rangers as well, the different power effects. Absolutely adore that. 2 for 1 now, we have Aether and Atheron. I saw these guys and I thought, you know what, I wasn't planning to get into Mythic Legions. I'm not a big sword and sorcery kind of guy, but then I saw this flaming fire demon on his flaming fire demon horse with giant bat wings and a flaming sword and a skull visor kind of mask, and I was like, wow, you guys are just ticking every box for everything that's awesome. Yeah, okay. I'm all in. Goro from Storm Collectibles' Mortal Kombat line. What needs to be said? I mean, just look at him. That's Goro. It's like someone took a challenge to be like, how much can we really translate what's on screen to a great action figure? Oh, actually, we can do it entirely. Yeah, perfect. There you go. He's just so cool. All the articulation in the world. You can move him around and pose him so much. Different heads, different hands, power effects, and just this looming, terrifying presence. Only problem, and I will say it, is that he is nigh on impossible to stand up because he has kind of like curved feet. I'm like, who decided to put curved feet? You're never going to get this dude to stand. But as long as you can prop him up somewhere, then yeah, he's incredible. Now genuinely one of my absolute favorite figures, that's why I'm speaking in a hushed tone. NECA TMNT 1990s movie Leonardo. Just look, this is a recreation of the Jim Henson puppet to perfection. Well, puppet suit, you know what I'm saying. What it is perfectly captured in this small little 7-inch, is it about 7-inch? I'll call it 6-7-inch. Whatever the size is, it doesn't matter. It's absolutely stunning. Of all the 4 turtles, I think Leonardo has the most soulful look to him. I could just like stare at that all day. It's just a beautiful, beautiful figure. HasLab Sentinel. I mean, come on. It's the HasLab Sentinel. Of course he's going to be ranking up there. There was so much expectation going in for what this thing would be like, and then besides some slightly dubious knees, he absolutely lived up to the hype. I think this is such a wonderful centerpiece of any collection. I can't believe we're going to be getting Galactus soon. That's just bonkers. Man, time flies. But in the meantime, the Sentinel is the standout centerpiece of any collection. Hot Toys Scarlet Spider. If you want to go high-end, you might as well do it with the best Spider-Man character in the world, Ben Reilly in his Scarlet Spider guise. This is the style from the PS4 game, but I mean, come on, it's a red bodysuit with a hoodie. There's not going to be too much variance. Hot Toys did an amazing job with all the wonderful detail on his bodysuit. It's not just plain. There's piping and panels and all different things that break it up and make it look like a real kind of human real world wetsuit kind of thing that a person would wear. The mask, the lens, the amount of detail in the web shooters and on his belt. Like someone sat down with like a schematic and went, how would web shooters actually work? And yeah, that looks about right. Absolutely love Scarlet Spider.
The name's Gambit, mon frere. Remember it. The Mayfix Gambit is one of the best X-Men figures that Mayfix ever made. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm going to drop that now. But it is. It's such a great looking action figure. This was one that, I just got by the skin of my teeth. If I had missed out, then, well, I would have missed out, because he is perfect for my mashed up X-Men display where it's all different lines and styles of figures. I think that for me is the definitive version of Gambit. Yeah, I think I'm looking at him now actually in the display cabinet, and every time I do I'm like, ha, golly, you're pretty.
Now, how can you have an action figure collection without Optimus Prime?
The answer is you can't, and I think I got a pretty good one. I love the Transformers. I love the 1986 Transformers when Optimus Prime died for our sins. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I love this figure because I can only have a couple of Transformers. I can't have a whole collection because honestly I'm not a fan of how they don't all scale right. They're all different sizes, proportions, different lines. Not enough consistency for my liking. And I love the fact that actually he doesn't transform. He doesn't need to. I just want the robot mode, and this is the most badass version of that robot mode. Axel Stone from Streets of Rage. This dude is just so much wonderful nostalgia for me. I grew up hooked on Streets of Rage, playing it 2-player with my sister. So much fun. And then we got Streets of Rage 4, and it was the new animated style, beautiful graphics, and Storm collectibles. Just nailed it. Very often I think Storm can stumble a little bit when they're doing human likenesses, but when you're doing an animated cartoon sort of look, that's their wheelhouse, and this was perfection. I hope we get another Blaze, maybe. I'd love a whole line of the Streets of Rage characters, but at least Blaze to go with Axel, that would be wonderful. But in the meantime, that dude on my shelf there, yeah, he is an absolute favorite. Another custom and one I love so much, Spider-Side. I figured, you know what, we're probably not ever going to get a Spider-Side action figure. So in the words of Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself. And by do it myself, I mean I'll pay someone more talented to do it for me. So Stepan, thank you so much. I still to this day absolutely adore Spider-Side. One of my absolute favorites, talking about action figures as art, Gansboy, which is just stunning. I mean, look at the work and creativity and craftsmanship that's gone into making this. I've said it a billion times before if you're a regular viewer of the channel, but it looks like a stop-motion animation puppet. You'd make some sort of quirky indie sci-fi short film about this little guy going about his daily life. And the fact he has so many accessories like the table with the ramen bowl on it and the chopsticks, it looks like he is just living his life as a little worker drone robot doing his thing, wearing his suit so that he can fit in more with the humans around him. I just adore it. So cute. So it's got the cuteness and the artistry that just goes together to make artistry. It's a new word. And he deserves a new word because he's one of my favorite action figures. And my current #1 favorite action figure is Mezco's Atticus Doom. When you talk about, as I said before, the artistic creativity of action figures, what went into this guy is just next level. People must have had so much fun sitting down and deciding, what are we going to throw into this figure to make it awesome? And they just did everything. A Cthulhu head, a brain on top that you can move out, and all these different power effects, lobster claws and tentacles. The list of what this figure comes with is almost endless. There's so many posing and display possibilities, plus the fact that he's kind of small, so he's kind of cute. Like there's a terrifying sort of weird, scary, freaky cuteness to it, which I just dig so much. Atticus Doom right now is right at the top of my list, and it's going to take a lot to knock him off. And folks, that does it for my top 100 favorite action figures. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little trip through most of my collection now. I've whittled it down quite a lot, but the ones that I've kept, man, I absolutely love them. So thanks very much. Comment below, let me know what are your favorite action figures. Heck, if you have a list of all 100, I'd be intrigued to see. And if you liked what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond on supporting the channel, you can do by going over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Throw a couple of bucks my way and it helps me make these videos and spend more time editing and less time working at the local pub, which
I really appreciate.
Guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Big time